She hit her knees before she hit her senses. On a hard court in Washington, a 21-year-old from Manila folded to the ground with her hands over her face, and for a few seconds, she didn't look like a champion. She looked like someone who couldn't believe what her own body had just done. Behind her, a scoreboard read something that had never been true in the history of her country. And a few miles away, a man who had spent years shaping her game said nothing at all. Not a statement, not a post, just silence. The kind of silence that, in professional sports, usually means something is coming. It came. And when it did, it wasn't just praise. It was a confession about a goal nobody outside a small circle in Mallorca had ever been told existed. But to understand why his words mattered so much, you have to go back to the start of the week, when almost nobody outside tennis circles knew her name. Alex Eala arrived at the DC Open as a wild card, ranked 168 in the world barely 7 months earlier, now sitting at 28. No WTA title. No WTA 500 final. On paper, a talented outsider given a courtesy invitation to fill a bracket. In her first match, she ran into Zheng Qinwen, an Olympic gold medalist, and by the end of the first set, the outsider narrative looked accurate. Eala was down a set and a break. That is a position players lose from, not the position players build legacies from. Then something shifted. She won 7 straight games. 7 in a row against an Olympic champion, closing out 4-6, 6-4, 6-1. It wasn't a lucky escape. It was a statement nobody had asked her to make. The next round brought the defending champion, Leylah Fernandez. Eala took the first set comfortably, 6-2, and it looked like the pattern would repeat. Instead, Fernandez clawed back, building a 5-1 lead in the second set, 1 game from forcing a decider. Most careers stall right there, in that exact gap between promise and collapse. Eala won 5 straight games to drag the set level at 5-all, then dismantled the tiebreak 7-1. 2 consecutive wins over seeded opponents. The kind of run that makes commentators start checking a player's ranking twice, because the number on paper no longer matches what's happening on the court. Round after round, the pattern held, and so did the disbelief. In the quarterfinals, she beat world number 10 Alina Svitolina, 6-3, 6-4, her 6th win over a top 10 player in a single season. Then came the semifinal, and the name attached to it was not a rising talent or fellow outsider. It was Naomi Osaka, 4 Grand Slam titles, a player who has spent years operating on a different plane of the sport entirely. Eala won 6-4, 6-2, and just like that, a wild card who arrived as a footnote was standing in a WTA final for the first time in her career, across the net from world number 3 Jessica Pegula. The final did not go quietly. Pegula took the first set 6-4, and when Eala built a 2-1 lead in, the second, rain suspended play. Tennis is a cruel habit of making players wait exactly when momentum matters most, sending them off the court to sit with their own nerves overnight. When they returned on Monday, Eala didn't look like someone who had spent a night second-guessing herself. She closed the second set 6-4, then swept the third 6-love. 8 straight games ended, and that's when her knees hit the ground. The Philippines had its first ever WTA Tour singles champion, and the entire country, watching on phones and television screens thousands of miles from Washington, erupted with her. For a moment, that was a whole story. A wild card's fairy tale, a nation celebration, a trophy lift, the kind of clip that gets replayed for a new cycle and then fades. But there was a second layer to this story, one that hadn't been spoken publicly at all, and belonged to a man standing quietly near the player's box. Joan Bosch had coached Eala since her days at the Rafa Nadal Academy, and through an entire tournament of upsets and comebacks, he had said almost nothing to the press. Then he sat down with ABS-CBN's Diane Castillo, and the tennis world got something it didn't expect. Not a generic tribute, a specific one. "I can tell you that I'm super happy because this was the goal of the year," he said. Not a goal. The goal, set, apparently, back when Eala was still ranked outside the top 150, when a WTA title looked less like a target and more like a distant possibility. That single sentence reframes everything that came before it. This wasn't a surprise run by an unranked wild card riding a hot week. This was a plan, made months in advance, by a coach and a player who believed something the rankings didn't yet reflect. She could do it, Bosch said. She deserves it. He didn't stop at the trophy. He pointed straight at the hardest match of the week. "She came back from yesterday's tough match," he said. "Jessica Pegula was playing amazing. Alex is a very good champion, and she deserves this win." Notice what he didn't say. He didn't say she got lucky with the rain delay. He didn't say Pegula handed it to her. He said she came back against a player ranked 3 in the world. After losing the first set, after a night of rain-forced waiting that could have shattered a lesser competitor's focus, what actually makes her dangerous. Bosch had an answer for that too, and it wasn't about her forehand or her footwork. It was about her nervous system. "She has a lot of strengths in her game," he said. "When she feels good, she always brings out the best in herself. She has a lot of belief in herself, confidence." Then the detail that explains an entire tournament of comebacks from set and breakdown. In her tennis, she has this ability to handle other players' power. Modern women's tennis is defined by pace, by players who try to end points early and violently. Eala's coach was describing, almost casually, a player built specifically to absorb that violence and turn it back around in the final games of the set. That's not a lucky streak. That's a design weapon. Here's where the story stops being about one tournament and becomes something bigger, because Bosch didn't just talk about tennis. He talked about what this win meant beyond the scoreline. "She's writing an important page in her country's history," he said, "and you can see it in the supporters' enthusiasm." And then, almost as an aside, the line that reframes her motivation entirely. "I read somewhere that Alex doesn't play only for herself, but also for her country. As someone close to her, I can say that's true in a way." A coach doesn't say that lightly. He spent years in the day-to-day grind with her, watching what actually drives a player when nobody is filming. If he's confirming it, it isn't a media narrative. It's something he's witnessed up close, match after match, loss after loss. And there had been losses. Not long before this run, Eala had fallen to Jasmine Paolini at Wimbledon, and Bosch was there for that too, working through the disappointment with her rather than the celebration. That's the part of coaching nobody puts on a highlight reel. The quiet recovery sessions after an early exit at one of the sport's biggest stages. The conversations that don't make headlines but apparently shape whether a player collapses under pressure or, 7 weeks later, comes back from a set down against the third best player alive to win a title. When Eala lifted the trophy, she didn't forget who had sat with her through that low point. In her speech, she pointed toward her box. "My team, Joan, who was over there. You and Sandro. Thank you guys. They are my inner circle. They are the ones who are putting in the work every day with me. Not agents, not sponsors. A small named circle, credited by name. In the biggest moment of her career to understand why that bond runs so deep. You have to go back further, to when Eala was 13 years old and left home to move to Mallorca, to the Rafa Nadal Academy, the place where Bosch would eventually become her coach. 13, an age where most kids are worrying about school schedules. And she was relocating across the world to chase a ranking that for years refused to move as fast as her ambition did. That's the kind of decision that either breaks a young athlete or forges the exact resilience Bosch described in that interview. The ability to go down a set and a break to an Olympic champion and not fold. It's not a coincidence that the Academy's most famous name responded almost immediately after her win. Rafael Nadal himself posted on X, "Congratulations, Alexa05. What an incredible week in Washington. A well-deserved trophy for all the hard work. Congratulations to the Philippines and to the entire Rafa Nadal Academy team." When the Academy's namesake singles out both the country and the coaching staff in the same breath, it tells you this wasn't viewed internally as a one-off upset. It was viewed as a system working exactly as intended, years after a 13-year-old first walked through its doors. Now here's a number that turns a great week into a genuine inflection point in her career. Before the DC Open, Eala had never cracked the top 20 in the world. After it, she has ranked number 20 for the first time in her career, up from 168 at the start of the year. Run that gap again. 168 to 20. Inside a single season. That's not a gradual climb. That's a player who has fundamentally changed what she believes she's capable of, backed by a coach who apparently knew it was coming before anyone else did. And she has other firsts stacking up alongside it. The first Filipino player ever seeded at Wimbledon. The first to reach the second week of a Grand Slam, wins over some of the sport's biggest names, including the defending Wimbledon champion Iga Swiatek. Each of those, on its own, would be a career highlight for most players. For Eala at 21, they're becoming a pattern. And yet, through all of it, there's a detail that might matter more than any of the rankings. Asked about the way to suddenly becoming her country's biggest sporting story, she didn't reach for a rehearsed answer. "I don't see myself any differently," she said. "I know who I am." That's not the language of someone performing humility for cameras. It's the language of someone who has already decided, privately, long before the trophy, what winning would and wouldn't change about her, which might be exactly why Bosch trusted her with a goal as big as a WTA title back at the start of the year in the first place. You don't build a season-long plan around a player who might crumble under new expectations. You build around one who already knows who she is before the world finds out that, where does this go next? The rankings say 20. The history books say first. But neither of those numbers tells you what happens the next time she's a set down against a player who's supposed to beat her comfortably. That question gets tested almost immediately. Eala's next stop is a National Bank Open in Toronto, beginning August 5th, where she's received a first-round bye and will face the winner between Alicia Parks and Victoria Jimenez Casanseva in the round of 64. A bye buys her something rare on tour, a few extra days to let her body recover from a 5-round, rain-delayed title run, and let her coach recalibrate the game plan for whoever's waiting on the other side of the net. Because if Washington proved anything, it's that underestimating her has become the single most dangerous thing an opponent or a ranking committee can do. What Joan Bosch actually revealed wasn't just satisfaction with a trophy. It was the existence of a plan nobody else was told about, a goal set in private, chased in silence, and completed on a rain-soaked hard court in front of a nation that didn't know, until the moment she went to her knees, just how close it had already come true. The scoreboard says the Philippines has its first WTA singles champion. Bosch's words say something quieter and more unsettling for the rest of the tour. This wasn't the ceiling. It was the target they picked out months ago, and they hit it early,